said he's calling in. Tom.
We'll get back with you.
Yeah, we do have a search and release.
Tom's still on vacation. Tom's still on vacation.
That's something, family obligation.
I pulled up to there and I talked like, I think it's Jill I talked to, and then I think you're Debbie, I think.
6.
What I did,
Separate.
Because they're fire fleets up there.
I say, or anything back there.
I must have left it somewhere.
Need another?
Oops, it's
I got
6:01.
this one, but I
I couldn't do that. That's why I went to change my hand. I waited for Wagner and then I called up.
Well, Tom said he was going to call in.
no, well, it's texting.
Can I call?
No, let me call him.
See, I love your hair. I wish I could
Let me
do
call him
that.
and tell him to call
You should
her.
see me. I can't work
He
with
can
all these tools.
call
or whatever.
Sherry and
Drives
call
me
you.
crazy.
Doesn't matter to me.
She can.
Yep, very much. Yep.
At 3. At 3212.
Is Lisa going to be here?
No, I don't think so.
Harp's not here either.
I would have said she'd be here earlier if she's going to be here.
Is that 3212?
Yes, 3212.
Just trying. I'll tell him to call me.
You know what? This is loose. So good.
Can I help you do something?
I think he had it taped with scotch tape to keep it in.
So I bring this for them and I put the one meeting.
Oh, it's
I have
broken.
something for them that aren't here.
It doesn't have the clippy thing.
I told them to put my number.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, the DD one.
Are you on silent so you can answer it without noise? Because then we can start, okay? You ready? I'd like to call the meeting to order. If you could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, can you call the roll, please?
Mrs. Burt,
Present.
Mrs. Pfaffdow,
Present.
Mrs. Gant. Sure, gotcha.
Hello.
Yeah, we got you. Hang on. I'm calling roll. Okay.
Let me do.
Okay. No, the thing is, the phone is broken. So I'm calling roll right now. So hang on. Mrs. Anderson is not here. Ms. Miller?
Here.
Mrs. Funk, yes. Mr. Klee? You are not here, but you are phoning in, and so
Yes.
you are able to take part in discussions, but you cannot, your attendance cannot be counted towards a quorum, nor can you vote.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Ms. Campbell?
Yes.
And we have a quorum.
Thank you. Are there any additions or deletions to this evening's agenda?
Not that I have.
Thank you. Are there any corrections to the minutes of our last meeting, July 19th, 2021?
No.
All those in favor of approving the minutes from July 19th meeting signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Those minutes stand approved. We'll move on to public comment. If you'd like to address the board, I'd ask that you come to the podium, and you don't have to give your address, but state your name. You'll have 4 minutes to address the board.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Frederick Bush. Some of you may know me. I've talked to Miss Miller over the telephone, but never in person. I'll try to make this short and sweet. Back in December, I had an incident where there was an ordinance violation, and when the ordinance officers came over, and they literally towed every vehicle of mine that was legal and illegal. Well, I say illegal as far as not registered. The court order said that any inoperable vehicle or unlicensed vehicle should be towed. Bernard actually had every vehicle towed of mine, things that were towed. I tried to get back from the township. I addressed Mr. Worthing. I addressed Miss Miller. I got the Stonewall for about 3 months, and I never actually got, the last communications I've actually got was from Miss Miller, and she was just listening to what Mr. Worthing had said by saying that I pulled a gun on the police, which was not the true story. It was partially true, but wasn't the whole truth. So I'm here tonight to talk, see if there's anything we can do about this, because I've been stonewalled by this. I'm at the point now, I'm trying to get the police department to correct the errors on the police report. And once that's done, I'm going to potentially move forward with a lawsuit against the township on that. So I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention and see if you guys have any comments or words of advice.
And when you mention a lawsuit, we're not saying anything.
Right. Well, and in addendum to that is I also want to know is why where I live at, I feel like I was pulled out or picked out of a whole lineup of people. All up and down my street, including big companies like Sunridge Apartments there at the end of Mackin Road, there by, it's in Flint Township. Their grass is high as this railing here. The township does nothing. I call down there to the code enforcement officers, they do nothing. There's cars, there's trailers, there's other things in my neighbors' yards that are sitting there. Why do they not do nothing to them, but they do something to me? I would like to know also why the township hasn't responded to me since your last comment to me about that incident when I talked to you back in, I believe it was February, I believe.
This isn't a question and answer time.
Well, okay, well, I mean, I'm just, so, okay, so that's it? Okay, all right, well, that goes on the record, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board?
My name is Cheryl Roberts, 4487 Lundywood Drive, Swartz Creek, Michigan. I missed the last meeting, but the meeting before, I made a statement with regard to, I'll get back with you on that. And I directly related that to some of the board members that had made that promise to me, and it never happened. I was in, I talked, sat down probably a month and a half ago, maybe with the supervisor, concerning Comcast or Xfinity, also on AT&T. When I first moved in here, probably close to 50 years ago, Comcast was $16.95, maybe $20. Cha-ching, 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 cha-ching. My bill this last month was $226. I've tried to change that, tried to get somebody else in there, AT&T. They came in, they lied to me. They broke my TV. My wife told them to get the hell out of the place. It cost me $50 to get rehooked up to Comcast again. And then AT&T, I had to send a letter directly to their CEO in Houston, Texas, because they wanted to charge me $600 early cancellation fee, which I never even was hooked up. They were going to send bill collectors out to me and everything like that when I never ever had service. Spectrum. I want to get Spectrum. I asked the supervisor why Spectrum wasn't in here. Called Spectrum. Spectrum says we're not in Flint Township. I pay a fee, which is a franchise fee on my Comcast bill. And that particular fee is about $7 or $8 a month, about $82 a year or whatever. I'm not sure exactly what it is. It comes to the township here. And I don't know what the fee is set up. And I thought with conversation I had with the supervisor, she was going to get back with me on that and see why Spectrum is not in here and why we are being charged that fee when it's an operational cost and it should be built right into the normal fee section of the bill. Those answers were not answered to me. I'm going to change the subject a little bit. There was an old guy here, kind of like me, named Mr. Krieger. That was when David Layton was in here. He'd come up there and he'd say, "Where the hell is Mr. Layton? I've been here for years. Every time I ask for Layton, he's not here. Is he down to his attorney's office doing something else?" Well, at that point in time, he had an assistant. I think her name is Sherry Goyette. At that point in time, Sherry was being paid as an assistant to the clerk. And I think she was making, with overtime and everything, about $72,000 a year, which was because Mr. Layton was never here, and she was the assistant. She was doing the job. Now, I understand that supervisor's got an assistant, understand the treasurer's got an assistant, and I understand that in the budget, the clerk is supposed to have an assistant. But looks like our clerk doesn't have an assistant, even though Sherry Goyette was Mr. Layton's, our prosecuting attorney of ours, who was never here, did his job.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts. Your time is up.
Oh, wow, that went quick, didn't it?
Yes.
It's kind of like my life. Close to 80 years old and here one day and gone tomorrow. Hopefully I'm not going to be considered like Mr. Krieger.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts.
Why no?
Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board? No?
Oh, I don't know about that. I can't let this one go. Heard from me in a long, long time. Kevin Stiff, G4020 Corona Road, the dive shop. I'm also a resident in the township. I've had a couple instances here in the township that I'm not real happy with. I was told, and I know this isn't a question and answer, but I own a business, and my parking lot is a private parking lot. Is it not? My driveway is a private driveway. Is it not? The state police, the sheriff's department, and the township police department have blocked it. I had an accident in my parking lot. I talked to the chief about it. I had 2 officers in my parking lot that took up 13 parking spots for 40 minutes. Left me with 2 parking spots. I also was told, I went out and asked the people that had the accident, which should have been just a change of insurance companies. I asked them to move. And the one guy went off on me that he had an accident. Went out there when the police officers arrived. Before they got started, I was told to go in my store, mind my own business, and shut my mouth. I've also had a problem. I've also was pulled over by that same police officer, and we won't get into that portion of it. But now, in the last week, I've had 2 other times where my driveway was blocked. I don't understand. I understand why people get mad. It's common decency. If I come down here and I block this parking lot, what would you do? If I blocked this parking lot driveway here for 45 minutes, what would you do? If I went over to the police department and I blocked that parking lot, what would they do? I heard that pin drop. It's not just Flint Township. It's all of them. It's every one of them. I have gone out in the middle of Corona Road and I have picked up 2x6s. I have gone out in the middle of the road and picked up paving blocks. I have gone out in the middle of the road and picked up garbage. When people have driven by it, state troopers, Genesee County Sheriff's deputies, and Flint Township. I understand that they have emergencies. But what happens if somebody what happens if one of your mothers or your dads at our age, if one of your mothers or dads were driving a car and hit a paving block? You know what? It would cause a big accident. It's a danger to my life to walk out into that drive. They drive 50, 60, 70 miles an hour on Corona Road, but I walked out and got stuff out of the roads. Now the other thing, again, my taxes, I got that white piece of paper and I'll go really fast and I know what you're going to say.
Because your time is up.
That's right. But I got that white piece of paper and my taxes are up again.
Thank you, Mr. Stiff. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board? So then we'll move on to reports. And I wanted to read a press release from the Genesee County Road Commission. They're telling us that they'll begin rehabilitation on the Bristol Road Bridge over the west branch of the Swartz Creek in Flint Township on Thursday, August 5th, 2021. One lane of traffic in each direction will be maintained through the work zone at all times. The westbound I-69 entrance ramp at eastbound Bristol Road will be temporarily detoured in order to be reconstructed. This posted detour route utilizes Linden Road, Bristol Road, Miller Road, and the westbound I-69 entrance ramp at westbound Miller Road. The anticipated open to traffic date is November 15th, 2021. Motorists are advised to proceed with caution and to allow themselves additional time to reach their destinations. If you have any questions, you can call the construction department manager, Jared Goodley, at 767-4920. I also wanted to thank Commissioner Dominic Clements for attending one of our meetings. I know you attended several times when we were having Zoom meetings. It's good to see you. Thanks for coming. That's all I have in my report this evening. Madam Clerk, do you have a report?
Yes, I do. I have quite a lengthy report, actually. First of all, just to let everyone know, I think that we're not busy when we don't have an election. We received 3 cases of returned mail from the Secretary of State within the last week and a half. The returned mail is from what? I have a big mouth, so I'll yell. All right. So in the past week and a half, we've received 3 boxes of returned applications from the Secretary of State. That was from May of 2020 when they sent out applications to everyone for the August and the November election. And when they were returned to Lansing. Lansing has bundled those up. They've been given to us. Unfortunately, when they sent those out, they didn't know enough about QVF, our qualified voter file, to toggle down and clear out the people who had moved. And so now we're having to go through each and every one of those returns to clear them out, put them on the 2-year countdown clock, or whatever it takes to clear up our database. So Deputy Tygeson is working on that, on all those that have been returned, and there's hundreds and hundreds of them. The second thing, we received 2 calls today. There is an election in some parts of Genesee County tomorrow, but not in Flint Township. If it would have been in Flint Township, you would have heard me talking about it by now. But we received 2 calls today where voters actually received ballots for the May election today. The ballots were postmarked March 31st, and the post office delivered them today. So it's just a word of warning to everyone. Ballots are sent out 45 days ahead of the election. If you filled out an application and you send it in and you don't get a ballot within 2 weeks of that 45-day mark, then you need to call us. Because we can get you another ballot. We can mark that one spoiled in the system. If you wait until the Saturday prior to the election, we're not allowed to send them out anymore after that. We can only send them out up until a certain time on Friday prior to the election. So if you don't get it, let us know, because all we think is that you just chose not to vote in that election. So that's 2 people today. I imagine they were going through the mail bin, saw the ballots, thought, oh no, we better get these out to the people because there's an election tomorrow. But that election was in May. The other piece that I want to talk about, and I'm going to get into some little awkward topics here, but I've already talked to my attorney, and I can lay out what I feel is necessary to the members of the Township Board, to the voters, and to the residents. So I won't be called out of order. I want to explain what this is. You see it's on a lanyard, looks like a flash drive. It's called a YubiKey. This is what we use every 24 hours that we want to access the qualified voter file. This goes in our computer into one of the USB ports. It asks us if we're going to use the YubiKey. We say yes. There's a little Y on it right here. That flashes. That scans our fingerprint. That allows us into the qualified voter file. When we hit that, we are agreeing to the qualified voter file agreement. We're also agreeing not to release any of the information because there's a myriad of election laws that we would be violating. And there's only 2 people in this building who are accredited and have access to one of these YubiKeys. The rest are kept under lock and key. Jackie had one when she worked the election. She had to turn it in the night that she left. And she was disabled at that point. That's how important this is. That's how important the state takes your privacy and the database privacy. A couple of weeks ago, I received a telephone call from my deputy. I was homesick with pneumonia. Wasn't one of the calls I really wanted, stating that Guardian Alarm was here and they wanted to put a surveillance camera in my office and in her office at the direction of the supervisor. That would violate election law. It would violate the QVF user agreement. We would lose our right to the QVF user agreement if cameras are installed in our office. If we don't have QVF, we have no elections. I've instructed my deputy, as I will do myself, if there's a camera placed in either one of our offices, we will not be logging into QVF at that point. We will not wantonly break the law. We will not wantonly break the QVF user agreement if there are cameras placed in our offices. Total disregard of communication. Some of the exempt information includes driver's license numbers, the month and day of the voter's birth, and this we have almost on a daily basis, and you might not think it's exempt, but it is. We receive envelopes from Department of Human Health and Services. We receive envelopes from Secretary of State. We receive envelopes from the county clerk. We are not allowed to divulge or have recorded by any means how a voter registration is received into this office. That is also exempt material. So if you file at the Secretary of State and they send us notification, I'm not allowed to tell anybody how you voted or how you registered. If you come in here, I'm not allowed to tell anybody that you registered in person. If it's sent by DHSS, I'm not allowed to divulge that to anybody. Yet we always have those envelopes laying around on our desk when we're putting names and things in, concealed most of the time. But you have to open them, right? That would be caught on camera. Just a minute. I contacted the Bureau of Elections on the day that I was told that there were going to be cameras installed in my office. The Bureau of Elections said it's a violation of the QVF user agreement and the myriad of election laws that I said before. I have nothing to hide. I have voter information to protect, and I will go down fighting to protect that information for all of you. The second thing, lack of communication that's going on in the township. My deputy has been told that she will be responsible for creating the tax roll, which is the statutory duty of the treasurer, and I'm sorry she's not here tonight to hear what I have to say about it. My deputy used to work in the tax department. She used to create the tax roll. That was 5 years ago. There's been changes, and I can say changes not for the better. There's also been the DDA and the CIAs that have been added. She has no idea how to do that. She does not want to get involved in the mess that is up there in the Treasurer's Department. To create the tax roll, she would be gone from my department, which is down to one person. And remember, I oversee two departments. The Clerk's Department, which handles all the day-to-day stuff, the cemeteries, board packets, all of that, which I'm handling on my own. And the second thing is elections, which Angie handles. Okay, June, we are ramping up for an election. By ramping up, I mean that's when the applications have to be in the mail. We have statutory dates that we have to meet. Ballots have to be in the mail. We don't have time for her to be pulled, leaving one person in the department to send all that information out. Because right now, our permanent absentee voter list stands at close to 10,000. Am I supposed to send out 10,000 all on my own? I don't think so. No one else is asked to do that. No one else is asked to do double duty without being paid extra. I'm not asking to be paid extra. I'm doing my job. November, we are ramping down from election. Let me tell you what November of next year is going to be like. We work 24 hours, usually for an election, 24 hours straight. I work 27 and a half hours for the presidential election. When I got home, I was too tired to even move. I had food. I fell asleep at the table, and I woke up 4 hours later, still sitting at the table. That's what our life is like. We are on call to the Board of Canvassers for 2 weeks after that. She does not have time to go up to the tax department to create a roll, which is the statutory duty of the treasurer. A crisis in the tax department should not create chaos in my department, and that's the end of my report.
Well, I don't think that's happened, and I think that it would be fair if Lisa was here, if you were going to be discussing this.
She can watch it, and that did happen because Angie has been told that she will be doing the roll. She was told that by the union, and that came as a direct order from you and Lisa.
The request was, it was union work. The request went out for anyone who wanted to do that work. There's only a few people in this building who know how to do that work.
She doesn't know how to do that work anymore.
She does know how to do the work.
No, she doesn't. It would be like bringing in Kim Quartz and Lori Donovan to run an election when we have new machines, we have new laws, and everything else. It's the same thing.
She was trained to be certified deputy treasurer during Lisa's term when she was deputy treasurer to the treasurer. We don't have to get in this argument. It didn't happen.
It did happen. You're not telling the truth. It did happen.
Did Angie go down there and do the tax roll? No.
No, because Kevin and Audrey did the text.
No kidding. I just think that Lisa should be here when you want to discuss
Well,
this
she
in
can
public.
watch what I had to say. I had no
cameras
idea
didn't
she
go
wasn't
up.
going to be here.
But they were going to go up because you filed a claim with the police department that's now being investigated by the state police of a break-in into the
Yeah, and there
room where
was a
the-
break-in into our elections
And that's
room
why we have
that
the
was
cameras
done by
here.
Trustee Vert and Detective Minto.
There was no break-in with Detective Minto or
Oh,
Trustee
he just
Vert.
walked in with a knife and got into the room then. There was
was-
a break-in.
I'm going to jump in real quick.
Yes, he was assisting
Can we
state
please move
police.
on? Now we're starting to disparage one of my employees. Can we
Exactly.
please move on?
Are there any, the treasurer's not here, are there any trustee reports? This is bad.
I got nothing.
Anything? Anything?
No.
We move on to department reports.
I'll make mine nice and fast. In the last 2 weeks, we had 1,400 calls that we responded to and 128 traffic stops, 82 business checks, and 48 residence checks. And I asked the board not to disparage my officers. If they've got an issue with my officer, make sure you come to me and we can figure it out from there, especially in a public forum where you're accusing my officer of breaking into an office.
Which he was asked to do because our attorney said you assist the state police in whatever they need. You don't break into one of our own offices. Mrs. Tucker, do you have a report this evening?
Sure. I have a zoning board of appeals meeting on Wednesday. They have one item on the agenda for Beecher Road. And then we have a planning commission meeting next week where we have one special land use on Brobeck Street. It's a gentleman that's bought the house next to him and he's moving what he's doing from one house to the other. It's fairly straightforward. And then we also have Ace Outdoors should be on that agenda as well. And then, of course, we have National Night Out tomorrow night, too. So, if anyone wants to be there for that. I thought you'd mention that.
And can you remind us, Chief Salter, what time National Night Out is tomorrow?
That starts at
4:30.
4:30. Thank you. 4:30 to 8 o'clock in front of our office.
Thank you. Assistant Chief Raleigh, did you have anything for us?
Yes, ma'am. Since the last meeting, our fire department's responded to 44 alarms. We have finished up our initial inspections on all the hotels in the township, and now we're just working with them with follow-up inspections, trying to get everything in order. Beginning this month, we are going to be starting big box stores and restaurants, trying to get ready for the upcoming holiday season. And Saturday, August 7th, we are going to be doing a physical agility test for 5 potential on-call candidates.
Great. Thank you very much.
Or can I address the board real quick
Sure.
again? I want to make sure I'm clear on this. When Detective Minto was there, he was, if I remember right, with the state police?
No,
Active or not?
no,
He was not? Okay.
he was not.
He was there at the request of a Michigan State Police trooper, so.
Yes, there was an ongoing investigation. We have cameras that record activity in the building. The claim went to our police department, then it's over at the state police department, Michigan State Police. It's been there since mid-August of last year. They're currently and actively investigating the claim that was made that someone broke in to an office that held ballots from the primary election last August. We were requested to save all of the video recording from the time period. Our cameras record for they hold it for 3 weeks. I thought it was 30 days. It was going to be erased that night, and we had to get in there. I think Trustee Vert, you escort. I was in the hospital. I had a bad accident. You were escorting one of the detectives from the state police department. No, Minto was here. That guy came the next time to look at the cameras. You needed it to get into the computer room, and the only place where the key was in this front office here. And so I instructed you guys to go in there and get it so that you could save the video to investigate the claim. That's exactly what happened.
No one called me. No one called me, and it's funny that the tapes were going to be taped over that night when all day on Monday, the state police was here going through the tapes, and I was actually called at home at 9 p.m. I had been here all day. I was called home at 9 p.m. by Mrs. Vert to go back in that office and to get the key to go into the computer room. That did
All
not
I'm
happen
saying
on
is-
Saturday.
We were
No
asked
one
to,
called me.
we were asked to
We don't
comply
need
with.
to, we did,
Please
No.
move on from this.
I just want to make sure
I know, well,
that we're not disparaging our employees who are doing.
ongoing.
It is ongoing.
just so anyways, let's just
So
move on.
number 8, there's no bills to pay tonight. Are there any correspondence or informational items, Madam Clerk?
no.
Number 10, new business. We have the Michigan Township Association dues to pay. Would someone like to make the motion
Move
to
to
do so? And then we're being asked if we want to have the essential package, the plus package, or the premium package. Our dues are $6,230 with $186.90 legal defense fund contribution. So if we want online access to resources, we need to choose one of these packages if that's what the board wants to do.
That's online resources for classes, and we are not having classes right now or any instructions. That is not going towards any certification, so I will not support paying extra for that because it's quite costly. We already have access to the online resources through our membership. So we pay the $6,200.
Barb, you made a motion. Is it for the $6,416.90?
What did we do before? Because we had talked about, there was something that the board was going to do, some classes or something. Am I right?
Well, we have that offer. We're renewing our membership with MTA for the 2021-2022 year.
Right.
And this sheet allows you to pay additional for resources that they offer online. Now, I'll say that I know that you've gone to some classes. Carol, you've gone to some of their classes. I've gone. Lisa's gone. You've gone to, I think, all of them. I don't know that you've gone to any, and that's why I don't know if you're interested to do online classes. It's
Probably not for me because of full-time job.
okay. So this year, let's just pay the basic?
Yes.
Is that your
Yes.
motion? Is there a second to the motion?
Second. Yeah.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll support.
Bafdal seconds. Any further discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call, please, on renewing the MTA dues in the amount of $6,416.90.
Mrs. Fafdo.
Yes.
Ms. Miller.
Yes.
Mrs. Funk, yes. Miss Campbell.
Yes.
Mrs. Furt.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Action item B would be the Industrial Development District. Mrs. Tucker, do you want to explain?
The Industrial Development District, it would be set up on it's a vacant lot that is across the street from John P. O'Sullivan Distributing. And this would be the public hearing. And then once you hear anybody who would like to speak during the public hearing, then you would vote on whether or not to adopt the resolution that would establish the district. Julie is here from John P. O'Sullivan Distributing if you have any questions about the project. They are looking at expanding again. And so this would be part of that expansion, would be that vacant lot. We just have to hold the public hearing.
So we'll do that now, and then we'll vote on the resolution. So it's 6:39. We'll open the public hearing for the Industrial Development District. On the parcel, it's Lot 8, Marketplace Number 2, and the parcel number is 07-28-577-044. Is there anyone who'd like to speak during the public hearing?
Hello, my name is Julie Rayhu. I'm a representative for John P. O'Sullivan. We are looking at purchasing this lot across the street for an expansion to our existing company. We are a beverage distribution company. We're expanding into some non-alcoholic products and some other avenues at this point in time. This lot across the street would allow us to expand our parking, We would be able to put a building on it at some point in time, bring more jobs into the community, and better service our customers in the area. So that's really what we're looking to do, is just to stay in the Flint Township area is what we'd really like to do.
Great.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak during the public hearing? And if not, we'll close the meeting at 6:40. And we will now consider the resolution of the creation of the Industrial Development District. And a motion would be in order to move forward.
I move that we create the Industrial Development District for Lot 8, a marketplace, also known as 0728-577-044. Is that correct, 044? Or 004?
044.
044, I believe.
Okay, 044, vacant land.
Is there a second to the motion?
Support it.
Any discussion?
Glad to hear you're expanding.
There's no further discussion. Madam Clerk, roll call, please, on creating the Industrial Development District. Lot number 8, marketplace number 2, and the parcel number is 0728-577-044.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. Funk, yes. Ms. Campbell?
Yes.
I keep wanting to call you Mr. Klee. Mrs. Vert?
Yes.
Mrs. Pfaffdal?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. So our last item on our agenda this evening is to set the public hearing for the Justice Assistant Grant. And Lieutenant Baldwin has requested that we set that public hearing for the August 16th meeting. Is there a motion?
I move that we set the public hearing for the, is it Byram Justice Assistance Grant for August 16th at 6 p.m.
Is there a second to the motion? Or Madam Clerk, roll call, please, on...
I just have one thing to add. I will need that public hearing notice so I can get it in the paper before noon tomorrow.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Funk, yes. Ms. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Vert?
Yes.
Mrs. Pfaffdal?
Yes.
Ms. Miller?
Yes.
Motion carries.
So our next meeting will be August 16th at 6 p.m., and if there's no further business, we'll call this meeting adjourned.